This is one of the other reasons I love when games like this happen. The Niners play the Cowboys because it kind of brings everybody to the yard. You know what I mean? Like, get to dive in a little bit with some of the dignitaries, some of the names who've been a huge part of it. So glad you're with us here on Willard and Dibs, and we'll get right back to your phone calls in just a few. But an opportunity to hang a little bit with a Niner great, Jesse Sapolu, joining us right now here on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Jesse, great to catch up. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? Looking forward to this week.
Yeah, man, this is going to be an interesting one, and we want to talk a little bit about what you're doing next week as well, which we'll do in a few. But what is your perspective on this particular group and specific the conversation around it, which seems to be not just are they good, we know that, but how much are they sort of a product of themselves or a product of their environment? When you look at Brock Purdy, to what level is he a product of what's around him versus his own gifts?
Well, I think he has a gift, the gift of the ability to process things in a short period of time. I think that's where his success comes from. And I know the media is talking about, Brock is a product of the of the Kyle Shanahan, offense and system. And to a certain extent, but they're overplaying that. The kid is a great player. I saw that early. If you remember correctly, when Jimmy went down against Miami, it's almost like the air was let out of the balloon at Levi Stadium. But Brock came in, Miami threw the house at him, and started, playing with flying colors. And he hasn't lost since. Keep our fingers crossed that he stays healthy. But that's what's making this matchup exciting, and that's what excites me about this particular team is we found a quarterback. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's been incredible through his short stint, and it's a tall order now going up against the Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons, a guy who can line up all over the board against this Niner offensive line. How big of a challenge is it for this Niner O-line against not only Micah Parsons, but a great, deep Dallas front?
Well, no question he's a challenge. And it's similar to the 90s, when we had to go up against that front that had Charles Haley, Leon Lett, and some of those great guys from the Dallas Cowboys. It was never a clear-cut win for either side. It was always a battle. I think it's going to be similar in that way because you got to give them their respect. Their defense is pretty good. But I think our young guys that played them last year, and Trent leading that group, we're going to get better every time we play them. We outlasted them during the playoffs. Everybody thought it was going to be, a runaway either way, but it was like a defensive battle during the playoffs. And that's the great thing about Brock Purdy is that he never turned the ball over. He hung in there. He threw that pass to Kittle. That kind of broke things all the way a little bit. And I think it's going to be a similar type of matchup. It's not going to be a runaway game because both defenses are pretty good. The thing that I like is everybody's talking about Dallas' defense, but our defense is pretty darn good too. So looking forward to it.
Jesse Sapolu joining us here at Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. What about the rivalry through the years, Jesse? And maybe we could just start with this. Like, what did it mean to you when you guys were playing? How were those games different?
Well, the beauty of the Cowboys-49er rivalry was that in the early 90s, we were the team that controlled the 80s. The 70s, the Cowboys had some success, even though the 70s belonged to the Steelers, but they won their share. Then the 49ers came out of nowhere in 81, the catch with Dwight Clark, and then just kind of took the decade over, and the Cowboys disappeared. And then they made that trade with Minnesota, and they got Emmett, Troy and Michael Irvin, and those guys came back in the 90s, and we were the team. And we did everything in our power to fight against those guys. So we lost 2 straight NFC Championship games against them. And this game kind of felt similar because then when they came back to Candlestick in the regular season, we lost 2 key games against them. And it was more of a mental thing. When you hear the media talk about they need to overcome the mental hurdle of being sent home by the 49ers 2 times in the past 2 years. we kind of went through that when Steve Young scored and we went up 14-0 in the regular season. And guess what? We ran into them again in the NFC Championship game, and we kept them from doing the three-peat. So I understand that mental hurdle that the Dallas Cowboys have to go through, but I think we have a real solid team, a real young, solid team that's going to fight them tooth and nail. And at the end, I think we're going to pull it off.
Let's go back to 95 for just a minute, because I'm looking at the log of games, and you guys did finally get over the hump in that November game, and then you beat them in the conference championship game to deny them the three-peat. Is a rivalry feeling something that you guys also feel in the locker room, or is it more of a fan creation? How much did you guys really want a piece of Dallas after they had gotten you twice in a row in the conference championship?
Oh, it was a different feel. It was definitely a different feel. You know, you play your games and you say you take it one game at a time. But, you know, in the back of your mind, you know which game's going to come up. And I guarantee you, when this season started and the schedule came out, I guarantee you that the Dallas Cowboys organization knew what game number 5 was going to be and who it was going to be against. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And you know, it's one of those things where there's people that will melt under this type of pressure. But then we looked at it, and this is the type of game that when you retire, you look back on it and you say, you know, I'm so proud to be a part of those type of games. And the beauty of the 1990s is that everybody knew before the season started, it was either going to be the 49ers or the Cowboys was going to win the Super Bowl, and it came true. That's how powerful those two organizations were in the early 90s. And what a rivalry it started from. And I'm glad these young men are continuing it, because it makes it exciting, not only for our fan base in the Bay Area, but for the NFL.
Jesse, when I mentioned the word Cowboys and rivalry a couple of minutes ago, before I even finished the question, you started to chuckle. What's
like that?
Yeah, what's going on there? What's that thought?
Well, because it is what it is. You know, it was two organizations that were racing to see who was going to win 5 first. You know, till this day, you know, I have Cowboy fans that are friends that I trained their sons, and believe me, they are as delusional as they've ever been. You know, you know, they still talk about, well, you know, we were the last ones. You know, you guys won your Super Bowl, and then we won it the next year, and you know, and I'm like, but the most important thing is who got to 5 first. You know, that's what's going to be in history. And I said the Cowboys were never first to anything. You know, so those are the kind of talk that goes on. I'm sure it's just not with me and the people that I know, but with all the Cowboy fans and 49er fans that are friends. Doing business and everyday life. That's what's exciting about this matchup.
And so you still feel that even now that you are, and I'm looking 26 years removed from being a player, is there still that sort of alumni pride and rivalry between yourself and some former Cowboys?
It is. It is. Not so much with the guys that we played against. You know, Mike and I, Michael Irvin and I did some promotions in Hawaii for the Pro Bowl. When the Pro Bowl was still in Hawaii, we did some radio stuff. The NFL sent us there. And we went on the radio, and there was some scripted things that they wanted us to say. And he said, hi, this is Michael Irvin, playmaker, 3-time Super Bowl champion. And then I came right after him, and I said, I'm Jesse Sapolu, San Francisco 49ers, 4-time Super Bowl, and he started busting up. There's not many places I go to that I get trumped by somebody. So.
Nice.
Those are the fun things. So we're friends, but I think the fan base is what makes it exciting. You know, 2 years ago, when the Sea of Red showed up at Cowboys Stadium in Texas when we beat them there 2 years ago in the playoffs, that was unbelievable to me. And then, of course, you know, last year they came and they tried to go through us to get to the NFC Championship game, and we denied them that. So it is nice for it to come back because it just makes the season that much more special.
Jesse, I love that you're talking about some of the guys from years past. We're such big football fans. that I think what you're doing next week is really, really important because this event is about taking care of guys that we've all watched on TV or bought tickets to go see. So the Golden Heart Fund and the 3rd annual Golden Heart Run presented by Cisco at Levi Stadium next week. And I know you're playing a key role in it, but what I really want to tell everyone listening is if you go participate in this, you're helping former 49ers essentially take care of former 49ers, like the former family and the challenges that
Yes.
football players face in retirement. So share with us a little bit about what you're doing and what this means for your brethren.
Well, the Golden Heart Fund is something that some of our alumni leaders like Ronnie Lott, Harris Barton, Ron Ferrari, and some of those guys started just to take care of 49er alumni guys that, back in the day even when I was playing, you got to play more than 5-6 years to really be set for life if you invest your money correct. Not like the players of today. Some players today, you play 1 year and you're pretty much set for life. So we have a good share of our brothers that are in assistance of help financially. And the beauty about the Golden Heart Fund is that it helps our 49er alumni directly instead of our whole union, the NFLPA, with our retirement there. This particular one just helps our guys. And the Golden Heart Run, which is happening on October 14th, I'll be the host and the starter for the run. It's something that I take it personal because I'm so passionate about making sure that the guys that, put their health and put their lives on the line to bring championships to the Bay Area and bring, happiness to a lot of our fan base. They need their help, and this is a great, great thing. And I want to thank Cisco for being one of the major sponsors for this particular run, and I'm looking forward to it.
You're such an offensive lineman, always taking care of other people.
Well, I protected 2 guys that were pretty darn good, and now we got to protect our alumni guys that are in need of help.
Well said, yeah.
Love it, love it. Hey, Jesse, great to hear your voice, and we'll tell everybody a little bit more about how they can be involved, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Go Niners.
All right, Jesse.
Go Niners. There it is, Jesse Sapolu.